This is Mixed Texan Report, and I am reacting to Black Conservative Perspective's video on the Nutty Sanctuary City Mayor's hearing. Let's check it out.
Okay, do you believe it's acceptable for illegals who commit heinous crimes be released back into the public instead of being detained and deported? Mayor Adams, yes or no?
Anyone break a crime?
Yes or no? This is not hard. Yes or no?
Anyone that break a crime should be detained.
Okay, Mayor, yes or no?
They should be deported.
Okay, Mayor.
Any individual that
Yes or
causes
no?
harm
Yes or
and
no?
breaks
Okay,
the
Mayor
law
Wu.
should be held
This
accountable.
is why you have 6% approval rating, because you suck at answering questions. Mayor Wu? Yes or no?
Anyone who's a public safety threat should be prosecuted.
All right, I have my next question. Are you willing to go to jail for violating federal law?
The city of Chicago complies with all laws.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Mayor Wu?
We are not violating federal law.
Mayor Wu, I have a last couple questions for you. Do you believe that ICE arresting a child rapist, quote, threatens everyone's safety, end quote? Yes or no?
No.
Does ICE arresting a murderous MS-13 gang member threaten everyone's safety? Yes or no?
No.
I would like to hold up this quote of you where you say ICE's efforts actually threaten the safety of everyone, end quote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. You're a hypocrite. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC is going to end. We're not going to put up with it.
This is my procedural
Mr.
right as a
Subramanian,
member of this committee.
You can
to
go.
enter
You can
documents
go with
into the
Mr.
record.
Frost and Mr.
I'm only
Green.
claiming my time.
That's what
do
you
not
want.
get to
No.
dictate
Ms. Presley,
how
I've been
I
very,
recite the
I have
articles
been very
for the
accommodating
record.
to you. Mr. Subramanian,
And I take particular umbrage as a survivor of sexual violence. I will enter into the record. This is my right. Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Subramanian.
Oh, go ahead and
Mr.
pause that real
No,
quick.
you know the process of
One, her voice is making my ears hurt. I can't stand her, and I cannot
Why do
stand the
these
sound of her
people
voice.
always
Resort to, well, more Americans kill this and that. It's foolish because we know that there are Americans that commit crimes. We know that, but they resort to attacking America first, and it annoys the heck out of me because we're not talking about those people. Those people will be taken care of. The violent criminals in America, they will be taken care of. But it doesn't help to have an added problem with illegal immigrants committing violent crimes. So I had this conversation with somebody and about Jocelyn Nungare, and all the other women who've been raped and killed by illegal aliens. And the response I got was, well, Americans kill people too. You remember Jeffrey Dahmer? I'm like, I'm not talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not talking about Americans who commit crimes. I know they're a problem, and I report on them. But why have an added problem with people coming across the border who shouldn't be here, adding more crime, more violence? So it's foolishness. These people are sick. Let's keep going.
I already asked you, you don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
6.9 billion of taxpayers.
$6.9 billion of taxpayer money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city.
You don't ask about how much money the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration?
We don't
out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
Do you manage your budget or not, Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep
Mayor
our city
Wu,
safe.
do you manage your budget or
We have
not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston, just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens.
The city of Boston
is
sick of having people outside Boston.
Mr. Bear, I have a question.
Yeah, so I got to tell you, what I was most excited about going into his hearing was to see how Brandon Johnson would handle the heat from the Republicans. Okay, and I got to tell you, the Republicans definitely grilled Brandon Johnson hard. Okay, and at moments during his hearing, he kind of looked like a deer in the headlights, to be honest with you.
I want to ask you a series of questions. If you could answer with a yes or no answer, that'd be great. First of all, do you support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no?
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
That's a yes as well. Do you support free or reduced college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
That is a yes. Next question. Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people
I'll
of Chicago.
take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times.
I have a comment
I'll
about
here
that.
brief.
Yeah, so this is a cycle because, for one, there's a lot of propaganda out there because Democrats and the left-wing media are telling people that they're using immigrants as a blanket statement that everybody here, legally or not, you're going to be deported. That or you may have your citizenship status revoked or something. Who was that nut job that was said? I think it was somebody on The View, or maybe somebody on MSDNC that said Trump is going to separate interracial couples. If that's the case, I'm getting ripped away. I'm in an interracial marriage.
Are they going to rip you in half because you're interracial already? So what are they going to do? Just cut you in half? They're going to take the black parts out of you and the Guatemalan and just. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I'm in an interracial marriage. So they're going to rip me away from my wife and deport me back to California, where I originally came from. Because I'm a United States citizen, I was born here, so they can't really deport me. But they also said Trump is going after interracial couples. So I don't know how that's going to work. We may have to have a long distance relationship. So I don't know how it's going to work out. But anyway, it's dangerous because the propaganda and the fear mongering makes people it brainwash people into believing that their citizenship status is in trouble when that is not the case. That is an untrue statement. So if anybody of any of these whack jobs tell you that, it is not true. So if you're here legally and let's say you just got your papers or something, you're going through the process or you've been through the process, and then you have some left-wing nut job saying, oh, Trump is coming after you. Tom Homan is going after all people who were not born here. That's not true. So don't believe the nonsense.
Works hard every day to get criminals off the streets of Chicago.
Would you turn that criminal over to ICE? That's the problem. That's one of the topics of this conversation. That's one of the problems we've heard from Tom Homan and from the Homeland Security is that in your cities, when someone's apprehended for a crime and ICE is now with this new federal policy wanting to come in and deport the criminal alien, that you will not cooperate with ICE. Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
And we do not harbor criminals. Our local police department works hard every single day to ensure that the city of Chicago is
yes
safe.
or no? Will you turn the criminal over to ICE?
With a criminal warrant from the federal government, our local law enforcement.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that. Okay, woke Mayor Brandon Johnson was a deer in the headlights. And I wish I could play more highlights. I mean, there's a lot of things I could play. Unfortunately, the video can only be but so long. Okay, this hearing was, I believe, like 6 hours or something like that. It was a long time. Okay, so with that being said, I want to go ahead and get into what I believe to be the highlight of this hearing is when Paulina Luna decided to refer the woke mayors for criminal prosecution by the DOJ, which is exactly what needs to happen, because ultimately at the end of the day, we all know that they are obstructing. Okay, they are obstructing the federal government from being able to enforce immigration law. Okay, and because of that, there needs to be accountability, right? All of this doesn't really matter unless these mayors are held accountable. Like, I understand from a PR perspective, from a midterm perspective, election perspective, you want these mayors on camera basically trying to defend their unpopular policy, okay, that is causing chaos and destruction within their cities. But I want accountability, right? I want to see some fireworks. I want to see some action, because these mayors have indicated that they're willing to go to jail for the illegals, right? So I say they should put their money where their mouth is, okay? And that is what Paulina Luna is calling for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay. Chair now recognizes Ms. Luna from Florida.
Mayor Wu, does the Boston Trust Act restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status? Yes or no?
We do not collect immigration status in law enforcement.
I'd just like to point out, and Mr. Chairman, if I could enter the Boston Trust Act into the record. Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to ordered.
Thank you. On page, or let's see, section 4AA, a law enforcement official and employment of the city department, agency, or commission shall not, and then A, inquire of an individual on his or her immigration status. Under Title 8, U.S. Code subsection 1373 stipulates that local governments cannot prohibit or restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status. So your enforcement of this act is in direct violation of that statute. Can you please confirm?
That is not
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
truth.
That's the U.S. Code. I don't know about you, but U.S. Code does not lie.
We do not ask about
Mayor
immigration
Johnson, I'm not
status, and that is
talking
what
to you anymore.
makes us
Next
safe as a
question,
city.
Mayor Johnston,
Oh my
you said in your
gosh.
testimony that the first step you took after illegal aliens arrived was to provide them with housing. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Folks that were on the streets freezing to death, we gave access to shelter. Yes, we did.
Thank you. Not to be rude here, but you have a good understanding of what the definition of harboring is, correct?
I do.
Okay. For those that might not, harboring means to knowingly or recklessly provide shelter or place to stay for an illegal alien. And according to Title 8 of U.S. Code subsection 1324, that is also a federal crime. Just to be clear, did you also say that you would be willing to go to jail to stop deportation efforts?
I did say that I'd be willing to stand up for all of our residents, and the context was that was the point at which the administration was threatening to deploy the U.S. military to streets of our cities to
Okay.
pull kids out of schools and churches.
Thank
So we
you.
were worried about that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article from CBS.
Without objection to ordered.
Thank you. In this, it says Johnston said earlier this week that he's willing to use civil disobedience and, if necessary, going to jail to stop deportations.
The residents will do the same. Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. I'm also